Hey there, 8th graders. We've got Big Idea B coming up here, and this is the first half of Big Idea B. I'm deciding to split this video cast into two because these first two questions are really straightforward, and I want to kind of leave the Big Idea B question B3 as kind of its own separate video cast. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the slideshow that we were doing in class and kind of take you through there. So we have question B1, how can you tell the difference between a rock and a mineral? And if you recall, we looked at several different samples and came to the realization that a rock is a collection of minerals. And that's really the kind of the simplest, most straightforward definition. You can see the picture on the left here, a close-up of a piece of granite. And you can see some feldspar, some quartz, and maybe even some biotite mixed in there. This is a microscopic view of the exact same thing. So that's what a rock is. And so therefore, it's fairly easy and straightforward to tell the difference between a rock and a mineral. A rock is going to be made up of lots of different minerals, lots of different colors, whereas a mineral will just be one pure substance. But then that gets us to a trickier question. What makes a mineral a mineral? And for that, that's not as easy to define. However, there are 5 characteristics or criteria that all minerals have in common, and I think that would help. So, for example, the first criteria is that all minerals must be solid. So they can't be liquid, they can't be gas. Lava pouring down the side of a volcano would not count as a mineral, even though we know that the minerals are there in a liquid state. We just need to wait for it to freeze, cool down, and turn back into solid rock and solid individual minerals. But also by this definition, interestingly enough, ice would count underneath this first criteria, this first characteristic, because ice would be solid. All right, the second thing that characteristic or criteria that all minerals have in common is that minerals must be inorganic. In other words, they're not made by critters, by living things. So salt would be inorganic and therefore a mineral. But sugar would be organic. It's made from a plant. So sugar doesn't count as a mineral. Pearls don't count as minerals because they're made by oysters. But ice is inorganic, and so ice would actually be a mineral underneath this criteria as well. Then looking at the third criteria, minerals must occur naturally. So we can't manufacture them, or what I should say is the ones we do manufacture don't count as minerals. So if they were made in a factory, they don't really count. Now the fourth and fifth characteristics here are a little more tricky, but if you follow along, I think this will make some sense here. The fourth one is that minerals always have a definite chemical composition. And the best way to think about that is that they have a specific recipe. So for example, quartz, which we've all identified in class, that's silicon dioxide, SiO2. All quartz has the exact same chemical formula. And halite, which is salt, is NaCl, sodium chloride. And then the fifth and final characteristic or criteria is that minerals always have a definite crystalline pattern or shape. And this all boils down to how you put the atoms together on the inside. When the atoms still go together in certain configurations, in a nice orderly regular pattern, then that gives the mineral on the outside that definite crystalline pattern or shape. So when you put all 5 characteristics together, that's when you can actually come up with the definition of a mineral. So if you look closely at this definition, you'll see all 5 things right here. A mineral is naturally occurring, it's inorganic, it's solid, and it has a characteristic internal atomic structure and a specific chemical composition. So it's a bit of a mouthful of a definition, but it's a definition that definitely nails down what a mineral is. So that's B1 and B2. And if you check in here with the next video cast on B3, you'll see all the different characteristics that we use to identify minerals. So until then, peace out.